It is Friday, October 11th, 2024. This is another edition of Baseball Today, presented to you by Booking.com, Booking.yeah. That is my man, Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose, producer Dan, along for the ride as well as we get you all set for a pair of Game 5s, another fun baseball weekend. Another team has punched its ticket to the next round. All sorts of crazy stuff is happening. How you doing? I like that jacket. You look
it's a little chilly in my room, dude. I didn't bring too many sweatshirts up here, so I got this nice cozy jacket on.
Okay.
Ready to talk about October baseball.
Yeah.
I'm doing great though. These games have been incredible. We have 2 awesome Game 5s coming our way. Couldn't be happier with how the postseason has gone. Like as far as like good games, good matchups, I think it's really lived up to the hype, Chris.
Yeah, no, I think they've been great. We start off with a little tip of the cap to none other than the man whose name adorns this company, John Boy, as he was doing the live stream last night. I don't know exactly what he was doing, but he jumped over the chair and stuck the landing. How worried were you he was about to like break his leg?
I'm not worried because I've seen this guy, like when he gets something in his mind that he wants to do, he does it. You see it every once in a while, like on the floor ball side of things, or even sometimes the blitz ball. Like he's not afraid to like jump, use the ground during athletic competition. So he's got it's a little bit, it's real small, but he's got some athleticism in there.
I was impressed. I mean, when I
You
saw
couldn't
it,
do that.
oh my God, are you kidding me? My knees would hit the back of the chair and I would have just.
Could Peter Moylan do that?
Yes. Peter's sneaky.
Sneaky little athlete.
Although my guess is that he would pull a hamstring or pull his butt cheek or something. That's my guess. Well, Jimmy and the rest of the people in our office that are Yankees fans are jumping for joy today because they have moved on and moved one step closer to reaching the Fall Classic. They're not quite there yet, but we'll talk about the path. That's because they disposed of those pesky little Royales on Thursday night.
And Weaver deals to Coryell. A high fly to center. This is it. Judge is there. He makes the catch. Ball game over. American League Division Series over. Yankees win. The Yankees win.
We got a lot of good guys in here. A lot of great individuals that, from day one bought into what we're doing here. A lot of guys from different teams, acquired some big names, and, they fit right in. Any guy that comes over here and wears these pinstripes, they're meant to be a Yankee, so it's a special group.
That, of course, the captain, Aaron Judge, who didn't do a ton in this series, but he may have unlocked something on Thursday night. The big deal was the pitching. I suppose it started with Garrett Cole. We talked about it on this show on Thursday. Dominant performance around the corner after a game 1, offering where he was somewhat rickety. He went 7 innings, only struck out 4, but gave up just 1 run and looked like the guy that they paid, over $300 million to.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is exactly why they gave him that type of money to, win elimination games, to be their ace, and he showed up last night. A couple scares there with Melendez and Ispel, but, by and large, he stepped up when the Yankees needed him to step up.
So is this what the Yankees have become now? Is that they have become a pitching dominant team sprinkled in with timely hitting? I mean, that's usually how you describe a little plucky group that's trying to charge on in the playoffs.
For this series, that's what it was. I mean, there wasn't a ton of, Stanton had a homer, but I'm not talking, Judge, Soto, Stanton 3-run homers. That just wasn't what this series was. And maybe you have to give credit to the Royals and their pitching staff for that. Maybe it'll turn around next series for them. But I think it's great that they showed that they were able to string together some hits. I mean, Glaber was a big tone setter in the game last night. And, I think if you can win multiple ways, I mean, obviously it's going to help you further on in the playoffs. When you do face, the pitching gets really tough in the playoffs. Everyone is throwing their best bullpen out there. You're not seeing a starter 3 times. Like there are things that make offense, lighter in the postseason. But, Judge had some good swings last night. I think there's a chance that, again, like we can see them, hit the long ball and be that type of offense. But to be able to win without that, I think shows something for this team.
We'll talk about more about this on Monday once we know whether they're going to be playing Detroit or Cleveland. but the path to the Yankees' first World Series berth since 2009 has never been easier, right? I mean, Baltimore got eliminated by Kansas City, and Baltimore's a team that handled New York this year. Houston got dumped in the first round by Detroit, and neither Cleveland nor Detroit, much like Kansas City, has much of an offense. So I don't think, and this is to no fault of the Yankees, you only play who's in front of you, but they are not facing any offensive juggernauts in the American League.
Yeah, I mean, but they're facing some really good baseball teams with some really good pitching. So, I mean, what scares you more? I don't know. Would you rather try to outslug it with a going up against a bad pitching staff and a decent offense, or would you? I mean, I'll tell you, offensively, you'd probably rather do that than face, whatever it is that Detroit's doing with their bullpen, and then Cleveland. Obviously, they had the best bullpen in baseball all season long. I don't think it's as cut and dry as that. It's like the easiest path. I think it's a different path for sure, but I wouldn't be, counting on a World Series appearance just because you're facing someone from the AL Central. I don't think that's right.
Well, if you were to rank the bullpens that were left going into the last round of 8, if you will, I don't know where the Yankees were going into it, but coming out of it, they're really high, right? They didn't give up a single run in more than 15 innings worked against the Kansas City Royals. And as much as we want to say, oh, well, the Yankees, they've got the $300+ million payroll, which they do, right? Because at times, Garrett Cole, Giancarlo Stanton, Aaron Judge, Juan Soto, it goes on and on and on of guys that get paid over 30, 20 or $30 million a year can shine. This is a bullpen that has been pieced together by reclamation projects. So whether or not you want to say that's Weaver, Canely is obviously kicked around, although he makes a nice chunk of change. They've got guys all over the place who, Tim Hill was a guy that was released by the White Sox. Heck, Clay Holmes was nothing when they got him from the Pittsburgh Pirates. They had to mold him literally like clay. So they have done a remarkable job in that bullpen, putting together a team that just shuts dudes down.
Yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, 15 2/3 innings so far this postseason, no earned runs. I like you mentioned Clay. He looked really good last night. I believe he's never given up a run in the postseason. Mm-hmm. I heard that stat going on, so that's nice. And then obviously Weaver, I mean, in the 9th there, you're talking about, middle of the order up. K's Vinny on 3 pitches, K's Sal on 4 pitches, and just kind of makes it easy. He's fallen into that role. So, yeah, I mean, it's what they've done is very impressive. We always see that, Chris. We always see that somebody's bullpen just step up. Mm-hmm. One of the bullpens that we don't really talk about. They step up in the postseason. Maybe it's the Yankees this year.
Yeah, it happened with the Atlanta Braves back in 2021. Now it's happening with the New York Yankees. It's real. I listened to an interview. I listened to Meredith's interview with Weaver and asking about whether or not he was surprised and the opportunity that he's had to now close out games. And he said, I knew I could always do something, but he basically admitted like he's shocked, just like everybody else. I mean, this is a guy who's got a career ERA of almost 5, has bounced around. I mentioned it yesterday with 5 different major league teams since 2022 alone. And for it literally to fall into place this year, I think that if the Yankees keep going to the World Series and end up kissing the Commissioner's Trophy for the first time in 15 years, it might be the biggest story of this team.
We talked about it yesterday on Talking Baseball, where the Yankees, they waited a long time to make a move with Clay Holmes at the end of the games. Everyone was behind him. This is our closer. When they finally did it, you don't expect to just put somebody back there and then them run with the role. Usually it's like by committee and we'll figure it out hot hand. But right now there's a clear-cut closer in New York, and that's that. I really do think you need that in October.
Yep, I would agree with all of that. On the flip side of things, I don't know if I want to call it a fairy tale season for the Kansas City Royals, but when you improve by 30 games and make the postseason, you take out Baltimore, and then you give the Yankees everything they can handle. It's an outstanding year. But if you listen to their undisputed star, Bobby Witt Jr., sure didn't feel that way afterward.
It just kind of feels like you let a lot of people down whenever you do things like this, but part of the game, kind of something that will light a torch in you and leave you a bad taste for the future, because now for the Kansas City Royals baseball, this is what we want. This is what we're going to do every year. We're winning postseason. Now it's how far are we going to go. It's not how we're going to get there. It's how far we're going to go. And so that's what we're going to work for, and that's what we're going to do.
Kid's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what he's saying too. I mean, I've seen it firsthand. You know, once teams get a taste of that postseason, there's nothing else that you want. So whether that means he's going to force ownership to go continue to make moves, whether that means, you know, you do something a little bit different in the offseason, you can tell that they have that itch now. And especially because, you know, I'm just speaking for them, I guess, but, you know, Bobby and Vinny and, you know, didn't have great postseasons. That it just fuels it even more. You know, the fact that they got there, now all they want to do is get back and have personal success as well as team success. So you could see it. Yeah.
You know, for me, the question is, where do they go from here? They did an outstanding job coming off a 56-win season of saying that is embarrassing. That is just not good enough. We have to get some pros in here. And they did. I mean, they totally changed the pitching rotation by signing Lugo and Awaka. Awaka's got a $16 million player option. So it'll be interesting for a guy now in his mid-30s to see whether or not he exercises that, or off of a really strong year and a couple of good playoff performances as well, wants to see if he can get an extra year or two on his deal, which I think that might be the way he goes, right?
Yeah.
I think so. Now they have to supplement the rest of that lineup, and particularly in the outfield, right? It was very top heavy. It was 2, 3, 4 this year. Now, Michael Massey, I think, is a good player. I think he's a keeper. Bobby Witt, Vinny, Sal will be back next year. But that outfield,
Sal will be back there for the next 20 years.
Yeah, he will. He will be playing until he's about 62. The outfield, to me, you got vacancies all over the place. Like, do they go get an Anthony Santander, a switch hitter, still just 30 years old, good arm out there? In that ballpark is probably still a 30-homer guy. You know, that would make a huge difference, I think.
Oh, my gosh. I mean, yeah, he'd make a difference on any team, but particularly the Royals. I totally agree. Lengthen the lineup. You're going to sacrifice a little bit of defense, which they do value there. But I would think that they would love to be all over. I'm very curious. That's one of the markets that we've talked about. What's he going to get, you know, coming off that type of season? So I would love to see the Royals be in play for him.
Yeah, but you didn't let anybody down, Bobby Witt.
No.
There's not one person in the world that covers this sport or even follows it that had Kansas City Royals making it to the divisional round this year. You guys had a great year. Sucks for you right now. It hurts, but it was pretty awesome. Pretty cool. Meantime, the other ALDS is going back to Cleveland. The Guardians were down to their final 7 outs on the road, down a run against the vaunted Tigers bullpen, and then the noted all-star, my Fry guy, steps up to the plate.
Brisky deals it, and Fry in the air, deep left field. This is back, this is up, and gone! David Fry, a 2-run smash! The Guardians have the lead.
I mean, I think we've shown that all year long. That's who these guys are. We just got a bunch of tough dudes that, you know, we get down 2-1, we're in the locker room. It's just another day. We show up ready to play, try to get a win, and then let's go win Game 5.
Once again, that is noted all-star David Fry.
Dude, people are calling you to doubt them from all over the world right now.
Absolutely.
Just doubt me, C. Rose.
Oh, yeah.
My goodness. That's exactly what I thought of when I saw that homer. I was like, gosh, Chris.
I know, exactly. I've inspired people from Cleveland to New York and beyond and all sorts of stuff.
For people that don't know what we're talking about, yesterday Chris said David Fry was an all-star this year. He's not an all-star player.
Exactly. And if people listen to what I said, there is a huge difference. When you talk about people,
he had an all-star.
That guy's an all-star.
You're trying to say
he had an all-star 2.5 months, And then people probably didn't even pay attention to what the rest of the year. I saw almost every David Fry at bat, so I can tell you.
Yeah.
And that was shocking as hell because it came against a right-hander. His splits against lefties and righties are significantly different. So the fact he was going against a guy who hadn't given up a run in the postseason, right? Vest and Brisky have been phenomenal for the Tigers. That bullpen is the main reason why they are where they are right now going into the 5th game. And not only that, Cleveland, our sporting history isn't great when it comes to elimination games. We had lost 11 straight elimination games.
I didn't know that, dude.
Dating back to Game 6 of the 97 World Series.
That's crazy.
Brutal. It's brutal. I loved, and you're not going to believe this, but I called the safety squeeze.
Oh, I love that too.
Yeah.
I mean, it obviously proved to be the game-winning run here. And same guy that hits the homer, I believe they said he hadn't had a sacrifice bunt all year long. So that's difficult to call in that situation, especially against a guy like Vest, especially in an elimination game. But he executed it flawlessly. I mean, really in that situation, you just have to get the bunt down somewhere. But for him, I don't know, man. That's like such pressure-packed time. And again, like you have to practice that stuff, game speed. And I always say that, like you can't make guys bunt who don't bunt in the regular season. That's not fair to guys, you know. But Stephen Vogt did, David Fry did, and it was a masterclass, dude. Homer and a bunt in the same game is like my favorite thing.
Fry said that the only time he bunted this year was into a double play, so he didn't expect it. And then when Vogt asked him, I suppose in the on-deck circle or the dugout or whatever, he said, do you feel comfortable bunting? And he said, yes, I was not a very good hitter in high school, so I bunted a lot. So there you go.
I love that. So that's my question, I guess, was going to be, some guys don't know the signs, dude. Like, you know, you don't bunt ever. I guess in that situation, you're pretty heads up because you understand that's a bunting situation. But maybe, did he say, hey, if you get up there first and third, you're going to bunt? I wonder if they talked about it before or if you just picked the sign up, because that's impressive to me. Being honest,
certain guys don't know the signs.
Oh my gosh, dude. I mean, with a team like that, when they're making all the moves, maybe they're more sign intensive, but there are teams that you play on where like, yeah, you just play, dude. Like there's a couple signs, you understand the situations where that would be given. So you, like I said, you pay a little bit more attention to the third base coach. But if you don't bunt ever, you're not really looking for that.
What was your favorite indicator that guys would give? Tip of the cap,
honestly,
grab
dude,
the belt buckle, touch their ear. You have no idea.
Did he ask me to like remember any signs? Like we like didn't run signs with the Twins. Maybe that's why we didn't make the playoffs.
Oh, stop it. All right, so now we get to Game 5. It goes back to Cleveland, and the Tigers, as shitty as it feels that you miss out on an opportunity to clinch it with 7 outs to go, you do have the consolation prize ain't bad. You have Tarek Skubal back on the mound in Cleveland. He went 7 shutout innings in Game 1, but it was 0-0 thanks in part to the start against the guy he's going to be seeing on Saturday, Matthew Boyd. But you've got, I'm not just saying this, you've got to give the edge to the Tigers. To me, it's always like, I'm going to go with the better starting pitcher and the team that's got the better quarterback in the playoff game.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. And I think I would give the edge to the Tigers just because Scoobs has been nasty, but they just got to get him out of the game because they've proven to be able to get to this bullpen. I mean, Ramirez gets Holt in, Fry gets Brisky. They put another run on Vest. Like, you did it. So you just have to try to, you know, match Scooble's pitching. I know it's not easy, but it's not over because you've been saying this too long for this dang Cleveland team and they keep winning. I give the edge to the Tigers, but I don't think it's like, I don't think Cleveland cares, man. I think they're ready to go win the game.
Yeah, I mean, listen, both these teams are. They're both offensively challenged. I think something to keep your eye on, and I thought Clase did a great job, but they have now scored on him in 2 of the 3 outings they faced him. There's not a lot of teams that can say that this year.
Hey,
the guy gave up 5 freaking earned runs the entire season. He's given up 4 now in 3 games against Detroit.
How'd you feel on that PFP that he almost zooed?
Well, I mean, that Naylor, where are you going, bro? You know,
that thing was rattling around that glove, dude.
You've got a platinum award winner I mean, the only thing that Andres Jimenez does during the playoffs well, and he does it exceptionally well, is play defense because he ain't hitting more than you know what.
Yeah.
Naylor, go let him cover the rest of the world. You have your little 3-foot area at first base. Other than that, go catch the ball or try to. My God.
Pretty
Don't
funny.
watch a game with me. I want to admit this. I'm like the rest of y'all freaks, okay? I have to sit in the same spot. I wear a certain shirt. Well, we were down 2-1, and Michelle made the announcement, I'm going to sit here and watch the game with you guys. She'll usually like be doing other stuff in the house and check in. She sat and watched the whole game.
Okay.
And
She got to do it again.
I know. I told her, I said, you're back here. You know what you're doing Saturday. Sitting your ass on the couch, watching more Guardians ball, starting at 5:08 our time.
Love that.
She's like, what time is the game? I said, it's 5 o'clock at night. She's like, okay, I think I can do that. I was like, yeah.
She can squeeze you in.
Yeah,
good.
Clear your schedule, girl. You got some mojo work to do. This episode of Baseball Today is brought to you by Booking.com, the official accommodation partner of Major League Baseball. Booking.com. Yeah. All right. We're almost at the League Championship Series. You know what? It's time to explore those U.S. cities you always secretly wanted to learn more about. Yeah, we're talking about your baseball rival cities. Even some of them can be new rivals based on the playoff matchups.
Yeah.
With hotels and bed and breakfast, vacation rentals, resorts, and so much more on Booking.com, you might just find the perfect stay for this postseason. So, Mets fans, you know you're going out to Southern California. It's either going to be San Diego or Los Angeles. Book that trip. Get out of the nasty weather that will be coming your way over the next few weeks in New York City, San Diego, Los Angeles. You know what? If you're a Yankee fan, you know you're going on to the next round. Go visit one of those cities in the Midwest, Detroit or Cleveland. The point is that there's hotels that overlook stadiums. There's family-friendly resorts. There's cute little bed and breakfast stays. Booking.com has so many choices across the U.S. And yes, the right stay can make you a fan of any U.S. city, even your baseball rivals. So book today on Booking.com and download the Booking.com app today. I imagine that some people have made the trip and booked their trip on Booking.com from San Diego to Los Angeles for a decisive Game 5 later today. We got exactly what we wanted. So, for the longest time, we knew that Yu Darvish was going to be the starter for the San Diego Padres, and we did not know what Dave Roberts was going to do. Just kept playing along, and then I'm sitting around getting ready for the show, and it's like 9 o'clock Pacific time, and boom, I get an alert that the Dodgers are going to go with Yoshinobu Yamamoto to start. First of all, your reaction to them going with their Game 1 starter who got knocked around in a couple innings by the Padres.
I don't think I was surprised because, again, I don't think this is Yamamoto going in there trying to go 7. I think he's going to start the game almost as like an opener. We'll see how it goes. The first sign of trouble, I think he's out of there. Everyone's going to have their spikes on. Flaherty will be piggybacking him. The bullpen will be there. We know what the Dodgers did in Game 4 with the bullpen, so I think Dave Roberts has that in the back of his mind. Another thing that we saw after Game 1 was that the Dodgers thought that Yamamoto has been tipping his pitches and the Padres possibly had something. So, they talked about him cleaning that up. I think that's an interesting aspect to this. We'll go see if he's doing something different, in his setup or his windup. But again, I think it's awesome. Number one, Yu Darvish versus Yamamoto is like a really cool storyline, but I don't think it's, he's going to go out there and, like I said, try to go 7. It's just he's starting the game by default. It's spikes on, elimination game. Everyone's ready to go from the first inning on.
It's an interesting choice. He does not have Here's the thing. His earned run average in the first inning has not been very good this year.
Yeah.
And in this particular series, it's interesting. Do you know that in the top of the first, the Padres and Dodgers have combined for 4 home runs? There's been a home run in each of the top half innings.
Mookie have 3 of them? How many does he have? 2?
Who, Mookie?
Mookie has 2 or 3.
Well, he's got 2. He could have had one in the bottom of the first of Game 2, but that didn't exactly work out. So you need to, that's the great silencer when you're on the road. The great silencer. They came out and they got 3 off of Yamamoto in the first inning, and all of a sudden you're like, wow, this is going to be a big-time series. And then how huge was it in Game 4 when Mookie, second straight game, went over the wall. It was just like, I'm not going to say it sucked the energy out of Petco, but it was a big haymaker out the gate. So I want to make sure I got a guy who has got everything buttoned up and ready to go. I have to admit, I'm a little surprised that Dave Roberts, I know it's hard to get 8 guys to give a shutout, which is exactly what they did in game 4. But if you look at the number of runs that their starting pitching has given up in the first 3 games, because they didn't use a starting pitcher in game 4, it's alarming. I think it's a risky decision.
I don't disagree with you there. But again, like, it wouldn't surprise me if from the first pitch of the game, somebody is in the bullpen warming up. Like, from the first pitch of the game.
That doesn't seem healthy for Yamamoto. You think that's ever happened to him?
It doesn't matter. I think in this sort of game, you understand what's at stake. You understand the role that you're playing. There's no feelings involved in these decisions now. It's what's best for our team. If you don't have somebody going in the first, couple batters and he gets into trouble, what are you going to do? You got to have someone in there to put a fire out. And that could be, we could see Michael Kopech come in the first inning if there's a fire. We saw Lucas Ursha come in, the 5th inning yesterday against the Yankees to put out a fire. These are the type of games we're talking about now.
Yeah, it's do or die. I love it. I cannot wait. I'll be sitting my butt in front of the TV for that one. Michelle will not be watching. Doesn't have as much interest. But it's going to be really, really fun. Yu Darvish is on the other side of this, and he was simply fantastic in 7 innings of work in game 2. Just a dominant performance. Not a ton of strikeouts through, I think, 82 pitches. People who might be a little newer to the sport of baseball didn't see him when he first came over. You faced the dude. Freaking filthy.
He was like one of the first guys that I faced that had just so many pitches you didn't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
And usually when you have someone like that, there's a couple good pitches. The rest are just show me stuff. He had 6 elite pitches, dude. And then he started throwing that eephus curveball, and it was a rare combination, in my opinion, of stuff and pitchability.
Well, he's coming off the season where he had the lowest strikeout rate of his career. I don't know if that's helped him in terms of ball in play a little earlier in counts, all that sort of stuff. But, he looked great in game 2. Now, Dodger fans are going to want to bring out the voodoo doll and say, well, the last time you pitched an elimination game in this stadium, we all remember it well because it was game 7 of the 2017 World Series and you got rocked. He didn't make it out of the second inning and took the L against the eventual champion Houston Astros. Now, for fans, we would all think about it. That would be in the front of our brains. Do you think Yu Darvish even thinks it? Not a bit.
No, not at all. That guy's pitched so many baseball games, dude. He's just going to go out there, do his thing. I don't think he's even going to be nervous. He's pitching a lot of big baseball games. No, he's not thinking about that.
Okay. Is there one guy that you think will shine brightest tonight in a game full of stars?
I want it to be the stars, Chris. I want to see the big matchups. I want to see, Tatis going up against whoever it is. If it is Kopech or it's, Trinan or something like that in the back of the bullpen. I want to see Tanner Scott versus Shohei in a big moment. I want to see those guys do something. But this is baseball. It's not going to happen. We're going to have somebody from the bottom of the order shine, and that's who's going to win this game.
Okay, that could be fun. I don't know. I hope that Freddie Freeman is okay. It sounds like Dave Roberts said I would expect him to be in there. He doesn't think Miguel Rojas will start at shortstop. Might be available for pinch hitting duties a little bit later, but we'll see. I just can't wait. I don't care. Much to the chagrin of some people who write in the comments section, I personally do not care who advances. I got exactly what I wanted in a selfish nature, and that is 5 games in this series.
Agreed.
And I have enjoyed every minute of it, and I can't wait because somebody's going to go on and take on my mighty Mets. Boy, did I wear it yesterday on social media.
You deserved it, dude. It's okay.
But here's what I love about it. If I was as bad in my job as you are, well, first of all, that was one prediction. Nobody gave me credit for taking Tarek Skubal as the AL Cy Young Award winner before this year. I thought that one was pretty good.
There you go. That's right.
Yeah, that's fine. But at the same time, just know I've checked with your bosses. Y'all suck at your jobs. The ones that are writing that, I've checked. So you are as bad at your job as I am at mine. We'll call it even. We'll all go out and have a pity party together, okay? You can't hurt me.
That looks like they did.
Just stop piling on. It's so mean. You internet bullies are making my life miserable. I don't know how I'm going to continue on. Anyway, we continue on. Mike Schilt, the Padres first-year manager, was very funny. He was at the podium yesterday, either right before or right after their workout. And at that time, the Dodgers had not announced their starting pitcher. And so our buddy Bob Nightingale got into a thoughtful conversation with the skipper of the Padres.
Is there like gamemanship involved? It was like yesterday they knew that Freddie Freeman wasn't going to play. He was still at breakfast, but then they put out a different lineup.
Yeah, I don't, everybody operates their own club the way they operate it. I don't, we're more like Vince Lombardi power suite. Here it is. Hugh Darvish's going to start. Here's our lineup. Our lineup was pretty good for 10 runs, 6 runs, 5 runs. This is who we are, and we're going to compete and execute. We do that, we'll shake hands and pop champagne.
What do you think of that?
I don't hate it. I mean, if that's my skipper, I'm pretty fired up. That's what you said about the team. That's a good line. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Do you think he was taking shots at the Dodgers by saying, you know what, you can keep doing your little sophomoric fun and games, and we'll just let you know that we're going to come out to kick your ass, and then we're going to kick your ass. That's basically what he said.
I mean, okay. Have the Dodgers been running sophomoric games other than not announcing a pitcher? I feel like they probably were honestly thinking about who was going to start. I don't think this was gamesmanship by them.
Yeah, but how long do you need to do that? Because,
I don't know. That's a good question.
Did they need a full 24 hours to figure it out, or wouldn't they have figured it out on the bus ride back to L.A.?
That's a good question. They don't have like a clear-cut answer to it, right? Like we didn't know. Like we were talking about it. Like who should they start at? It's just going to be an all-hands-on-deck game. And you mentioned, Yamamoto's struggles in the first inning. Maybe they were thinking about that.
It's possible. I'm sure they thought about everything. I guess the point was that Bob started out with was that they knew that Freddie Freeman wasn't going to start. And they sounded like they turned in one lineup with him in it, and then they pulled him. Now, there's the possibility that Freddie also tested the ankle and was like, yeah, this ain't working. Like, I was supposed to.
Yeah, that happens all the time. Guys are like, I can go. And then they really try to test it right before the game, and you can't.
And by the way, A.J. Hinch has been the master at this throughout the playoffs. That's been part of his deal, is that on days where Skubal does not pitch, he doesn't announce. So the Tigers have been doing this the entire time. To me, it's not that big a deal. It just kind of shows a little bit of the angst that's going on between these two teams. And I actually kind of dig it. Like I said, I've enjoyed everything except the fans throwing baseballs. And I really hope that in the return to Dodger Stadium, everybody that's a handful of people. And this happens at a lot of stadiums around, the country, in other sports as well. You can yell, you could boo, you could cheer, whatever. Don't be a part of the game. Do not be a part of the game in that manner.
Yeah.
We do not want to be talking about this on Monday, that once again they're launching baseballs at Tatis and Profar in the bullpen. Let's not do that, right?
I don't
Whatever
think
happens, and that's it. And don't fight. If you listen to the show on a daily basis and you're one of those people that's fighting, we're going to put you in timeout. All right, so we need less fighting, but you know what we all need a little bit more of? To get off our ass. With bold flavors and a refreshing citrus kick, Mountain Dew will get you off your ass, have you feeling like you're on an actual mountain. A mountain where the weather is always perfect, your friends are ready to hang, and a day of epic proportions awaits. It doesn't matter what you want to do, just get outside. Be competitive with your buddies. You could have a longest drive contest, a longest throw contest. You could be playing Frisbee golf. You could even, if you have a monitor set up, throw on your gamer headset and go play some video games. You could do kickball. You could do wiffle ball. You could do pickleball. You could do any sort of new ball sport that you create. The point is, the mountain is calling and you should answer. So grab your friends, grab an ice cold Mountain Dew, wherever refreshing beverages are sold, and do the do. Last thing before we get out of here for the weekend, Surprised when I saw this. Your Minnesota Twins are up for sale. The Pohlad family released a statement saying that talks started this past summer, and the team and the people that have owned the team for 4 decades, since 1984, are indeed, sounds like they're getting out of the baseball business. How shocked are you?
Part of me is pretty shocked. I mean, obviously, yeah, they've held this baseball team for quite some time. I mean, Carl to Jim, now to Joe, and this is a family I've become pretty close with, and have a relationship with. So, at the same time, though, I think that there was some. There were times during the year where I thought this was becoming interesting for them. The TV deals are kind of gone. The local regional TV deal kind of dried up. That's a big revenue producer for the teams. Now MLB is going to take care of that next year. So I'm assuming that means like a significant loss. And even with the regional deal in place this year, it was a little bit less than they were used to, and they kind of had to cut payroll. And I just think maybe it's time for them. And they're not selling a team yet. They're exploring the sale. So they're just, checking out to see, what's out there. Doesn't mean it's going to for sure happen. We've seen it happen with the Angels, where Artie Moreno said the exact same thing, and he's still holding the team. So a little shocked by the news, but I think like I said, there was instances during the year where you could have put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah, I mean, the thing I always found interesting was the Twins are considered a small market team, right? And the Pohlads, whenever they would do a list of the top net worth owners in sports, whether it was in baseball or just overall, they are one of the top on the list. They have boku bucks. But I do remember, and I forget if it was Jim or somebody else who said, in terms of payroll spending, we treat this like a separate business. It is one of our businesses that we own. And so whatever we get into the business, we'll put back into the business. We are not going to take from this business and put into that business. It's not how we do business. And it's their right. I mean, when you're the decision maker, it's not my job to tell you how to spend your money. But I always felt like that caused a little bit of friction between the fans and the team. Like they were like, well, hold on. With your other businesses, people don't buy jerseys. What is their main business outside of baseball?
I think it's a lot of real estate, which is kind of, what you'd expect. And there was some sort of distribution. I don't know if it was for Pepsi or something. There's some distribution back in the day. When people have that much money and you ask them how they earn that much money, that's never a clear-cut answer.
I'm sure. Things. But my point is that nobody's walking around the Twin Cities wearing distributor jerseys on their back, right? But they are wearing all these legendary players, and that's why we care so much, and it's what makes this sport such a beautiful thing. I think they've done a good job. I know the last few years have been tough when the payroll goes down. Welcome to the world of Cleveland sports fans. All I can say. All right. You going to be able to watch Game 5 tonight?
Gotcha. Yeah, of course.
Love it. You can be able to watch Game 5 on Saturday?
I'll be sipping some nice red watching Game 5.
Are you going to root for me or no?
For Cleveland?
Yeah. What are you doing?
I don't know. I don't know who I'm rooting for, to be honest with you. I'm trying to think of like best matchups for the Yankees. I want to see a good series.
I think the Yankees are they're in good shape. If they don't get to the World Series this year, you're going to have Yankee fans quitting. You're just going to be like, I'm out. I can't take it. There was no Astros. There was no other dominant team in the American League. If we can't get past the JV squads, what's the matter with us? We'll talk more about that.
JV squads. Get out of here.
I'm kidding. I'm having fun. I'm very proud of my team that they forced a 5th game. And Tigers fans should be exceptionally proud of theirs because 2 months ago, they had a 0.2% chance of even making the playoffs.
That's right.
And now they might be the betting favorite heading into Game 5. We cannot wait to see you on Monday. Everybody have an amazing baseball weekend. For our one-of-a-kind producer, Dan Rourke, the uber-talented and wine-sipping Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose. We will see you Monday here on Baseball Today, presented to you by Booking.com.